Alrighty, folks, we are about to bring socialism to the largest city in the United States. Yes, folks, New York City seems to be on the cusp of electing just a socialist beyond socialist. And Mondani, I think is his name. If I mispronounce it, is on accident, but hopefully that's close enough. But yes, it looks like socialism is going to the heart of capitalism, New York City. And Taylor is always in and around New York City. I'm curious, what are the people saying? It seems, Polymarket says 84% chance. Others say 2-1. Seems like a lock. What's going on?
It does seem like a lock. We did just have the current mayor drop out of the race, so that could shift the deck a little bit, the deck chairs, and give someone else a little bit higher probability of winning. As Eric Adams was taking definitely votes from some of the other potential candidates. But broadly speaking, I think this is indicative 100% of the K-shaped economy that we talked about, 2-3 videos ago, whatever it was. That is the function of what this is. And good, bad, or indifferent, I have a tendency, because of what I do, to speak to the top end of the K-shaped economy. And they could not be any more upset about this. There are people threatening to move out of New York City. There are people in the real estate space which he is attacking with a very close crowd. I'm just everything here in New York. So I think there is real, as soon as you subscribe the socialist word to your name in this country in general, I think it scares the hell out of people.
Well, it scares the hell out of a small set of people. And it rallies the troops, because again, if you come in and promise free groceries and free travel and free this and free that, and oh, by the way, we're going to soak the rich and they're going to pay for it all. It sounds good. It certainly moves the masses. It will probably lead to a monster turnout, which is probably why he's got an 84% chance of winning. But where socialism misses is when you play the game out. Okay, he wins in November. He's in office, I guess, in January, right? He's sworn in. Probably by March or April, you're going to see the targets of his wrath, the rich, move. They're mobile. The rich are mobile, folks. They probably already have 2 houses. You think it'd take much time to, say, I no longer live in New York, I live in Florida? So, how do the rich really react? Because again, I think you and I've talked about a lot of that, consumer sentiment, like we feel this way.
Yeah.
But when you target the rich, I think the greatest example, folks, of this is the UK. I think if you look at the UK over the last 3 or 4 years, they have lost the most millionaires of any country by a mile, because they've turned on it. And New York City today, I'm going to guess, has the most millionaires, sheer numbers, and might be per capita. I'm going to guess New York won't by July of next year.
And it's not just going to be individuals leaving. Like we saw Alliance Bernstein, a massive institution in the world that I live in. They picked up and moved to Nashville like that when things started to go south. And to the point of like, there are options. There are options. It's not like New York is. This is not disparaging New York, because I spent a lot of time in the area. But traffic is atrocious. Cost of living is ungodly. You're confined to this city where it's hustle and bustle all the time. It is a grind. It is a hard way of life relative to almost anywhere else in the US. And I think most people that move out of New York City that maybe were only ever been accustomed to New York City, they're like, whoa,
there's a tree over there.
What took me so long? I'm not spending 2 hours commuting both directions. What?
Yeah.
What? I've got 4 hours more of my life with my family and my kids. Like, So I think where it all comes down to the fundamental underpinning of what is capitalism, what is socialism. One directly correlates incentive with outcome, and one does not. If you work hard, if you take risk to differentiate, to grow, to build, and you want to be rewarded for that, that is a capitalistic society. A socialistic society is common ownership of things. Everyone kind of has the same slice of the pie. What happens to incentive in that environment? And it's not like, okay, let's talk about the theory. No, let's look at every single example throughout history. Again, it sounds so good in the short term. Hey, I'm going to take from this and give to you. That sounds amazing. right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when we have the wealth gap that we have right now. That's what's causing this. Is we have
Agreed.
the largest wealth gap we've ever had in this country.
But again, so again, it seems like a lock. He's going to win. How long is the mayor's term? 6 years or 4 years? Do you have any idea?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, so let's assume it's 4. It could be 6. They all alternate. But you know, at the end of this, I think Scott Bessent was interviewed a couple of days ago, sometime last week, and he basically said as a punchline that he expects New York to come begging for a bailout because the city's expense to revenue is going to crater, and they're going to need a national bailout. And he basically said, "Go pound sand."
Yeah.
Scott Bessent's like, "Hey, you choose socialism, you live with the consequences."
Yeah. And I think I don't know that I want to speak for you on the political side of things, but I can speak to myself of, I don't have a hard rightward lean, which I know I'm coming off that way, that I do have a hard rightward lean, but this is not Democrat and Republican. This is socialism and capitalism. Like, we've fought multiple wars, this country. Almost every war that we've ever fought in the common era has some form of, I don't know about that, but anyway, you fought the Vietnam War. You fought a lot of the wars that we've been in. Cold War was exclusively about, the Cuban Missile Crisis. All of that stuff was a direct function of us trying to protect capitalism from communism, which is the most extreme form of socialism.
Yeah, no, you can speak for me on that. Again, I think this is a capitalism versus socialism argument. I think, again, what my bigger concern is it does feel, again, given the wealth divide, that this seems to be an easy short-term answer, right? I think Mondani's going to roll in with a wave and applause, and AOC and Bernie Sanders and that whole, crowd of clowns is going to celebrate it. And then I don't think it takes 2 years for New York to start to see what they, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
I think it takes 24 months and New York's a shell of itself. It could go that fast.
I am not going to try to butcher the details, but we have a client who is a very big landlord in New York City. And she was talking me through all of the complexities that are being proposed on that. And she wants nothing to do with her entire portfolio if it goes that way. Now, granted, she's a little bit more rightward leaning. So let me be clear on that. So there's a vested interest there too. But don't get me wrong. The what she was laying out was completely logical. And I'm going to butcher it if I try to explain it. But it is going to become incredibly, incredibly hard to be a New York City landlord. Incredibly hard.
No, this is what San Francisco did. I don't know. I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago. It kind of went that direction. And a lot of landlords just gave up. I mean, they've been there for generations and they're like, I'm out. Right. Yep. I'm going to go somewhere else. Right. Again, what people don't understand about this is the wealthy have options. They have mobility, and they can take a lot. But when you focus on them and you make them the evil person, they're going to do everything they can to get out of that spotlight.
Yep.
Because they don't want the attention.
Yep.
And they don't want the hot light from government. And they're like, fuck, I'm out of here. I don't need to be around this. So I would expect lots of people. And again, that's why I think New York's a shell of itself in 2 years. I think it goes that fast.
And look at this too. New York has a 10% state tax, we'll call it, depending on where you're at. For the wealthier, it's about 10%. There's also a 4% New York City tax that gets tacked upon that. So like, it's not like we're doing things that are, it's not like we're incentivizing them to stay as it is. And then we cripple this on top and it becomes really, really, really tough. And I will tell you this, and this is the God's honest. So I never lived in Manhattan, but I lived in and around the metro area for 10 years. My brother, who's my business partner, lived in Manhattan and around the area for longer than that. And we moved away. And I don't mean to, again, talk detrimentally about New York City, but during COVID, we had a massive exodus out of New York City to the town that we live in. And everybody that came, granted, we live in a pretty nice town, they said, my God, what took us so long to make this decision? So I think what's going to happen is one rich person moves and they call their buddies like, dude, you ever been to Sarasota, Florida? It's awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so, and again, jobs are more mobile these days than they were in the past. So, yeah,
it's going to be interesting. So again, the last thing I'll say about this is, this may sound surprising, but I want him to win.
Oh boy.
I want him to win.
Prove a point, prove a case.
Yeah, I want him to win. I want once again, a very recent testing of socialism. No better place than the biggest city on the planet. And when it ends in a catastrophe and begging for a federal bailout, we'll know that socialism doesn't work in 2025 or 2026.
I don't want him to win. That is far too close to home for me.
Yeah, I say that comfortably from the other side of the coast.
Exactly right. I will feel the ripple effects.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. But yeah, I think it's very clear that unless something dramatic changes, like he gets caught, playing with animals or something, he's going to win, and New York's going to get what they want. And again, I hope it happens so we can just stop saying that socialism is a good thing. But Taylor, what say you, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That I think that will be the outcome, and I think it'll be apparent relatively quickly. So yeah, find us. I did a video on this. I talked about one of the things I talked about also is you look at the 8 wealthiest people in the United States. 3 of them are immigrants.
Yep.
2 of them are from like perfectly middle class society. One was born to a teenage mother in the Bronx. One was adopted, and then you had Zuckerberg, who was wealthy. Yeah. But like you talk about, hey, it's unfair, etc. Like, and I get that not every American is born with equal rights. Like that would be a naive thing to say, but capitalism rewards
the opportunity.
The opportunity. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And that's again, I'm on a big theme.
Find us at Life Goal Investments. We're on both Instagram. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things I'm harping on is
we chopped up there a little bit.
Yeah, damn internet. What I was telling folks is I'm on a path to getting people how to get wealthy. 49-minute presentation on my YouTube channel, recorded in Orlando. So again, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm super excited to watch that. I'm going to watch that tomorrow morning during my workout. People can find me at Life Goal Investments. That's our handle. We're on Instagram and TikTok doing daily videos.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.